Hello, everyone. Welcome to Mystic Journeys with your host HB and Derek is here, or not Derek. Sorry, Nerdy is here as well. Derek's head out was what I meant to say. How you
Yeah,
doing tonight, Nerdy?
I'm doing good, doing all right. I'm rested.
Sir,
I've got
I
some
think
rest
it's gonna
today.
be. You got some rest today, yeah.
Yeah, I got some
That's what
rest today.
wintertime's for, man. So I'm glad you've been taking advantage of that. That's what it's supposed to be for, man. Because you got to rejuvenate.
Yeah, battling with my computer updates here and there. It's just been a struggle.
Goodness.
All right.
Well, I believe what you refer to as Murphy's Law is a really great way to put it.
Exactly.
Here comes Derek now as
Eric's
well.
here.
Actually, so
Yep.
here's Derek. Welcome
Hey
in,
guys,
buddy. How are you
sorry.
doing, man? You are a perfect time, buddy. You slid in for the home plate just in time, man.
Got a new new router. Trying to set that up, and then it
Okay.
was like you were just saying, Murphy's Law. It's something
I
that's
can
gonna
Murphy's
relate, Derek.
Law, man. Heck yeah, we're doing it
That's
though,
the
boys. Look
timing,
at us
right?
pulling together. So I'm
Just my
talking
computer
about, you know
problems
what?
the last few days have been horrible.
I
Mhm.
mean, how convenient though, because this is a perfect segue into today's episode. We're doing the WayBack Wednesday, and we're talking a little bit about how we can help the world and do our part. And man, doing this, showing up whenever it's hard to show up, whenever there are technical difficulties, stuff like that. And Aries mentioned this a couple times. We do our best, and that's all really we can do. And we just try to, spread positivity. So, cheers, guys. Thank you all for being here. Today we have a special guest as well. I should mention later on in the show. So we're going to talk a little bit for about 30 minutes after um, the reading, and then we're going to let our special guest Laura come on. So yeah, I'm excited about this. It's going to be a great episode.
Divine Wednesday.
Divine Wednesday. I kind of like that. So it's
That's good.
sorry. Go ahead, Derek.
I like that. That's good.
We're getting our dose of divine today.
I thought about it today. I think we need to break up the monotony. I thought about that. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty good. We got a lot of dudes here, so we need to get some, mix it up, get some different cultures and different sexes and stuff in here. So we'll work at it.
We're
If you guys are familiar, it's the Way Back Wednesday, Volume One. Patty Bryant's the author, and we're now in week 11. So if you guys have been following along, this is a really great episode. Nerdy was mentioning before the show. He actually had this marked in his book for a while, so
Mhm.
it's a great concept. And there is a book by the name of Edward Everett Hale called "The Man Without a Country," and basically that book is about a sailor who was forced to live at sea and he couldn't go back to his home. So the opening quote, week 11, is called "The Keeper of the Spring." This is this story, and the quote is from "A Man Without a Country" by Edward Everett Hale. I'm the only one, but still, I am one. I cannot do everything, but I can still do something. And because I cannot do everything, I will not refuse to do something I can do. All right, let's get into it, guys. What difference do you make? The late Peter Marshall, former chaplain of the U.S. Senate, told a parable in the late 1930s that may help you answer this question. The parable, titled "The Keeper of the Spring," centered around an elderly gentleman who lived high above an Australian village in the Alps. A few years earlier, the man had been hired by a town councilman to keep the stream from the mountains to the town clear so the townspeople would always have fresh water. The town always had cool, refreshing water due to this man clearing out debris and keeping careful watch over the entire stream. If a big storm came, he would work tirelessly to remove the branches or obstacles put in the stream's path. As an elderly gentleman, as the elderly gentleman worked high above the village, the townspeople had almost forgotten he even existed. The village itself was beautiful, with crystal clear water, naturally irrigated farmlands, and charming restaurants. One evening, as the town council was reviewing their budget, a council member asked about a line item for a salary of a keeper of the spring. And the councilman said, I don't understand what he actually does. Has anyone seen him? I think our money could be better spent elsewhere. Do you agree? The councilman unanimously decided to remove the keeper of the spring. At first, nothing really changed. The townspeople went on as they always had, with fresh, clean water. But in the fall, the leaves began to change and then fall off the branches, as they had done every year. The leaves began to accumulate in the stream and started causing a mucky, sludgy, slimy mess. And the village people, or sorry, in the village, people couldn't believe that their beautiful water source had been turned into such a horrible mess. Water was scarce and many people fell ill. Tourists stopped coming, the economy went downhill. The town council called an emergency meeting to determine what was going on. After a few minutes, they realized that one major thing they had changed was removing the keeper of the spring. They immediately rehired the elderly gentleman within a few weeks, and the spring was clear again. Everything was back to normal. The townspeople had clean drinking water, and tourists started coming back to the village, and the economy was doing well again. Sometimes when I think about the great needs of this world in comparison to my abilities, I feel overwhelmed. But this parable is a great example that no matter how seemingly small your action, a great deal of good can come from one single individual. Whether it's listening to someone and making him or her feel heard or understood, or packing a lunch for your kids, or creating a spreadsheet that can keep everyone organized, or clearing debris out of a spring for your village, you make a difference. So you guys, keep this in mind. This is today's prompt. Answer this in the chat. When have you ever felt discouraged when thinking about the great needs of this world in comparison to your abilities? And does this parable help? And what's one thing you can offer to others? I'll reread that real quick for you guys. Have you ever felt discouraged when thinking about the great needs of this world and when in comparison to your abilities? And what is one thing you can offer to others? Guys, I'm going to let y'all go first. You guys can rock, paper, scissors for it if you want. I got a lot to talk about, so you guys go ahead and get it off your chest.
Let's do that, Derek. Let's rock, paper, scissors for it. All right?
Okay.
Ready? Rock,
1, 2,
paper,
3.
scissors, shoot.
All right.
There we go.
So I go first, I guess, because I won.
Paper.
Yep.
So scissors.
Yep.
Scissors beats paper.
Yep, scissors beat paper, yes.
So I win.
So you go first or me?
I won. I'm going first.
Okay.
Well, I really, really, really like this parable because I found it really, really relatable to my personal life. What I do doesn't make a lot of money, but it makes a big difference in the community. In fact, I don't make any money doing this. I do not make a salary. I'm not like the keeper of the spring because I don't make a salary. But I found this parable really did help motivate me, and it helps me put context into what I'm doing. There's a lot of downstream effects to the things I'm doing, and I hear about it. And it always surprises me when I hear about it because I never expected that I was actually helping people when I was doing those little tiny things. Just little comments I make here and there, people notice, and it makes a big difference.
100%.
Just being there for
It
people.
always is the small things like checking in on people and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Does a lot. Very well said.
I see it in your work, Nerd, even your story, like when you started and the guy that got you started originally that sold you a bag. I mean, that was like the seed that planted the mighty oak, to say, like, it's
Yes, sir.
he probably had no idea what he started when he sold you that bag. Then it snowballed. You're helping other people produce their own medicine, and you're putting people on the right path. And that's really huge. And that's like the best hope any of us can have, is have a positive impact on someone else and send them off feeling good and in the right direction. And you don't know, just like this parable here, like the keeper of the spring, he was behind the scenes, and people just didn't understand his work, and that's why they dismissed it. But it can be the smallest thing that's gonna cause the biggest ripple.
Well said, man. Both what you guys say, really great.
The Futurama episode.
Okay, let me have it. I love Futurama.
Episode. I don't have a clip for it or anything, but this, what Derek just said, made me think of it.
Okay.
This is actually like a good church episode where Bender gets jettisoned into space. He's just by himself, and a little colony gets formed on his body, and he becomes their god in a way. And long story short, at the very, very end of the episode, Bender actually starts talking to God or the universe,
I love this.
Whatever it was. And what God said to Bender was, you did things right when people don't notice you did anything at all.
Whenever you don't notice you did anything at all. I say that all the time.
Really
I love that.
with me.
100%, man. I say that all the time to my friends. Because that's how whenever I was just mentioning this to you before the show, it's like sometimes we do a good deed because we want money or we want, admiration or, attention or whatever it is, right, for it, that's the wrong reason to be doing it. I do agree that doing something for attention is better than doing a bad thing for attention, but at the same time, it's like we have to make sure we're doing it for the right reasons, not because our ego is involved. Just I have that in my notes here. I'll get into. You guys have anything else to add?
Just doing something with the right heart posture, like you said, not doing
Yeah,
it
man.
for attention, but because maybe it needs attention, and then
Yeah,
that's a big payoff right there.
100%.
I do
I'm nerdy,
have
didn't you?
I do
You
have
have
one
a
of these
card.
cards.
Yeah, man. So yeah,
May as
read
well-
that, please, if you don't
May as well
mind.
break that out now.
I
Yeah.
love that.
As my lighthouse shimmers for others, it lights my own way too. So it's a lot like this card reminded me of the Keeper of the Spring. In the back of the card, it says, "Of comets and stardust and moonlight symphonies, your glow is a lighthouse for all ships lost at sea. By creatively, passionately embracing your hero's journey, your energy becomes an alluring, guiding light to others who may feel broken or hopeless. Keep sharing connection and offering your vulnerable wisdom. As your lighthouse shimmers for others, it lights your own way too." I'm going to read that again because I liked it a lot. Of comets and stardust in moonlight symphonies, your glow is a lighthouse for all ships lost at sea. By creatively and passionately embracing your hero's journey, your energy becomes an alluring guiding light to others who may feel broken or hopeless. Keep sharing, connecting, and offering your vulnerable wisdom. As your lighthouse shimmers for others, it lights your own way too.
Well said, man.
I love
And I
that.
actually said that in Discord today and on Instagram about this show that being a hero is meddling where people don't belong. And one of my friends says that. I think it's from an anime. I'm not sure, but it's a great quote because it shows how we should make that sacrifice to always do good and be good.
I've heard that quote before. I don't know where.
It's an anime, I believe. But my answer to the question of today's prompt is, I do struggle with the idea of feeling that the world is too much sometimes. Like, I would, if I could snap my fingers and save everything, of course I would, duh. And if I had to run a mile to do it, or if I had to run 100 miles to do it, I would, right? It's like, but at what point, like, we're only human, right? We have to live our lives. So it's like, at what point do we draw the line? And that's what I'm going to get into my notes here. I talked about this before. It's a Jack Kornfield quote about how we tend to the garden that we can touch. And I think that that's how we make a difference in the world around us. We make sure we're okay enough, right? We don't have to be 100% okay. We have to make sure we're well enough ourselves and take care of ourselves. And then the rest of it, we can give away to our people around us. And, I see you guys basically every day or talk to you every day, basically, right? We do this show 3 times a week. So you guys are the people that I can impact the most because I'm always here with you. I'm seeing you guys every day. So why not be helping you guys out, doing things for you that I could be doing to people that I don't even know? It's impossible, right? Because I don't know them. I don't see them. But I can see you guys. You're right here in front of my face. So that's how we can start making the world a better place is by tending to the garden around us.
Or that stream.
Yeah, it's called localized action, right? They got the idea of people protesting and supporting their local ideas for government or whatever, right? It's what we should be doing, but we should do it with a positive, healthy mindset, peaceful mindset, rather than a hateful, egotistical attachment to these things.
I would
just
like
do what you
to
can. And sorry, go ahead.
point out that quote. That quote is from My Hero Academia. It was said
Correct.
by All Might. He was telling Deku or Midoriya.
Is there a full quote to it?
Meddling when you don't need to is the essence of being a hero.
100%. I love that. It's very great. Yeah, you just do what you can and don't make excuses. Act like a hero. Be a hero. Stand up and be a hero. Because you can't expect a hero, Superman, just to walk in the door and save you. Sometimes we have to be that person to save the world, save ourselves, whatever situation we're in. And, as long as you're doing it politely and respectfully, I see this a lot. People have the tendency to be rude to servers and people at the grocery store and stuff like that. And I'll step in and I'll politely remind them, like, hey, we're all human here. There's no reason for you to be angry at them because you're having a bad day. Look, don't take it personally, and I'll remind them about the agreements. I do that a lot whenever I see people acting out. You try to be a little bit of a hero everywhere you can. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like don't expect this person to be perfect. And they can't expect you to be perfect. Like you guys need to learn to just get along. We're human beings, right? It's karma. The energy that we give out to the world, I believe it permeates deeper than we think it does. Because it's the idea that when you walk in the room and you have a bad attitude, that you're making everybody around you mad or emotional, right? That's 100% true. But I think it permeates deeper than that. I think whenever we do good, it sends an essence into the universe, like it permeates that light that you were talking about. And there's a great quote that I've mentioned before that your light is never dimmer for your candle light is never dimmer for lighting somebody else's light. And whenever you're a candle, naturally unlit candles are going to gravitate towards you because they're feeding off of your light, your energy, right? Sorry, excuse me. Our thoughts are affect the universe. Basically, is my whole point. But yeah, there's an Albert Einstein quote that he talks about how maybe I have it on my phone. Let me just not misquote this here. I'll come back to that. But basically, the way to solve these problems, the way to help you figure out how to get through this is to just try to not feel overwhelmed and just to take one problem one day at a time, every single problem one day at a time. There's this idea that it's changed my life and the way I live. Whenever I feel like I have too many things going on in my life, it's like I have to clean and I have to wash the dog and I have to like all these different things, human things, right? Adult things. What you do is you make a list of these things and you solve the things that are easiest to solve first. You start with the easy things and work your way to the harder things. So it makes you feel accomplished. You're like, okay, well, I got this. Now all I have left is this hard thing to do. And it makes it way more accomplishable. It's the same thing with our society and the way the world around us, right? We should just write a list of the things that we're passionate about and that inspire us and knock those things out list by list. Deep breaths and baby steps, I always say this. And it speaks a lot to our fourth agreement about just always doing our best. Just do what you can and you live without regrets. But I talked about this before about how one of our main three causes of suffering is our ignorance, right? It's our desire, it's our attachment, and our ignorance. So ignorance is really what stops us from being able to look at these things in a positive light because we think that AI is bad, for example, right? It's just because we don't understand. We fear what we don't understand. And this happens so much in politics and religion and personal conflicts with people. We fear someone, so we get angry with them and we want to hate them and yell at them and scream at them and we spit venom at them. We break our first agreement. But positivity equals survival. I mentioned this, so it's better to have optimism. I have that in my notes here. Whenever you're positive, like going through hard times, when you feel like the world is against you and you feel like everything's going wrong, those are the times that being positive will help you get through one more day. And sometimes just being positive and having the idea of optimism, like we can save this, we can stop this, we can solve this. And again, I was just mentioning in the beginning of the show, if you guys didn't hear, we were having technical difficulties. And this is a prime example. Like it's not always perfect for us to show up. We don't always show up on time. We don't always, I'm always dropping out of the chat. Derek's having the problems, like Nerdy's having internet or computer problems rather. So everybody's having issues, but we show up and we do our part. That's being impeccable with your word. That's how it should be. But I have an idea here for you guys. There are two fundamental views in the world. The world is deeply broken, and then the world is fundamentally good. And I crave a heart that has room for both. I have that quote in here because this is exactly what I was talking about. I crave a heart where I can look at someone. What's your heart say, Nerdy?
Cutie pie.
Cutie pie. Oh goodness, this is Valentine's. Yeah, I was talking about this the other day. I crave a heart where I can look at somebody with cancer and go, my human heart aches for you. Like this is the worst thing that I think could happen for you. But also at the same time, logically, I want to look at them and go, we're just human beings. We're all going to die anyway. And there's a beauty in the fact that you're going through this thing that only you get to experience. It's you and you're dealing with this thing. Life isn't happening to you. It's happening for you. It's an opportunity. Everything that happens to us, we should be unconditionally grateful. And that's the confliction that I have in my heart whenever I'm having, whenever somebody comes up to me and goes, sometimes the world feels impossible. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Sometimes it does feel impossible. But I love a heart that thinks both. Like sometimes it feels impossible, and sometimes it feels like I can stand on top of the mountain and scream out with my megaphone and change everything. So that's what I try to do, is balance both. And let me read some stuff on my phone here for you guys. I have a Ram Dass quote.
There was a meme, something about, sharing your struggles. So there'll be the Light brothers or the Fuel brothers to achieve. And then I found this one here. This is what you were just talking about, HB, sharing your light.
Yes, man.
All them people, and it's infectious.
Yeah, man. That's a beautiful one.
Yeah.
100%. Being that candlelight.
Heard that share your struggle one. I've seen that several times recently, but I can't find it right now. But I like that one a lot. Share your struggle, and that'll give the others the confidence to make it through their battle.
100%. That's why you notice that some of the most charismatic people that we know are the people that have been through the most hardships. Been through the hardest stuff. They learn how to appreciate life and friendships and people for who they are individually, rather than picking them out for their things to try to put their ego on top. It's really annoying. Ram Dass explained, I talked about this, about how Ram Dass said that life is quote unquote perfect. That Ram Dass explained this paradox does not mean that the world lacks suffering, chaos, or pain. Instead, it refers to a cosmic perfection, that the understanding that everything, including suffering, is unfolding exactly as it should. From a higher witnessing consciousness, one can see perfection in the unfolding, but from the human level, there is still pain. He often described this as holding the paradox: the world is perfect as it is, including my desire to change it. He emphasizes that it is all perfect, is not a reason to be passive or refuse to help others. Rather, it is a way to remain wide open and vulnerable to the world without closing one's heart, allowing one to keep eyes open in hell and act out of compassion. He's taught that this perspective helps us stop trying to force the world to be a certain way, as the need to control things is a trap of the ego. He often linked the idea that everything, even difficult events, has a purpose and therefore is perfect karma. Ultimately, Ram Dass believed that as you deepen your spiritual practice, you begin to see all forms of life as they are part of a greater whole, and that you can trust that unfolding even while working to alleviate the suffering. Very beautiful. If you guys don't mind, give me about 2 or 3 more minutes here. I'm going to read some Aesop's fables. I got 2 of them to read, and then we're going to let Laura come up on the show.
Yes, please. That sounds great.
I love Aesop, so yeah, these are very relatable and not very long stories at all. You guys may have heard this first story, especially The Lion and the Mouse. It's one of my favorite Aesop's fables. It speaks about how doing kind things is karma, always comes back to give good to us. I speak about this with the boomerang of good intentions. As long as we throw it out with the intentions of doing good and not getting anything in return, you'll be surprised what you get back. This is a perfect example of the story. A lion lay asleep in a forest, and his great head resting on his paws. A timid little mouse came upon him unexpectedly, and in her fright and haste to get away, ran across the lion's nose. Roused up from his nap, the lion had laid his huge paw angrily on the tiny creature to kill her. "Spare me," begged the poor mouse. "Please let me go, and someday I will surely repay you." The lion was much amused to think that a mouse could ever help him, but he was generous and finally let the mouse go. And some days later, while stalking his prey in the forest, the lion was caught in the toils of a hunter's net. Unable to free himself, he filled the forest with his angry roaring, and the mouse knew the voice and quickly found the lion, struggling in the net. Ruining one of the great ropes that bound him, she gnawed it until it parted, and soon the lion was free. "You laughed whenever I said I could repay you," said the mouse. "Now you see that even a mouse can help a lion." One of my favorite Aesop fables right there. Even somebody very small can take on the challenges of trying to save the world. It's really powerful. And I have one more here. It's called The Ant and the Dove. A dove saw an ant fall into a brook or a creek. whatever. If you guys don't understand, the ant struggled in vain to reach the bank, and in pity, the dove dropped the blade of straw close behind it. Clipping to the straw like a shipwrecked sailor to a broken spar, the ant floated safely to shore. Soon after, the ant saw the man getting ready to kill the dove with a stone. But just as he cast the stone, the ant stung him on the heel so that the pain made him miss, and it startled the dove, and he flew away to safety in the distant wood. And again, you never know with the small things that you do to help somebody out just because you can, just because you should, how that comes back to give you a reward. And I've talked about this multiple times, and I'll talk about it again because it was super impactful in my life where I was going through a moment of grieving for my pet passing away, and I went out and passed roses out to people. And I'm not saying this to get clout or attention or gratification because I don't care. Even if you gave it to me, it wouldn't affect me because I did it for me, and the gratification that I got was doing the act. That's what made me feel good, and that's why I'm mentioning to you guys because that's what happens whenever you do good
It's a good
in your life.
That's why.
Yeah, 100%.
Not about.
Yeah,
ego.
100%. Yeah, and you know, like I mentioned before, like I don't like them when people do things for ego, but as long as we're just doing good things, I guess you can't argue that you know it's not still a good thing. But I do think we should be doing it for the right reasons. The thing that's inside of us, it's called our heart. We should put that above our head. Sometimes, you know, think about it a little bit more with our feelings. But yeah,
Give Laura
I'm excited to get Laura up on the show. Yeah, man. If she's
like
already
she-
in here, you can go ahead and invite her in.
Looks
Cool.
like she needs to get in front of her camera. There's that little delay there, so give her a few moments.
Okay,
but
sweet.
I got a perfect my hero.
Now, Nerdy, were you gifted those, or did you buy them for yourself?
I bought them for myself.
I think we know the answer to that.
So it says to me.
Or did you
from
give any
me.
away? Did you give any away?
TV from me.
I gave a bunch to my daughter already.
Oh,
She already
nice.
munched a bunch.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very awesome.
This is actually mostly empty already. Okay, she's ready. Oops, that was an accident. Wrong button.
Hey, cheers, pops. Cheers, everybody in the chat. Sorry, I haven't been looking. Mike's in here.
Thank you.
Hey, Laura.
Laura.
Hi,
Cheers. Hey, how are you doing tonight?
I'm okay. How are all you guys?
Doing pretty well.
Two thumbs.
Thank you for joining.
Go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody in the chat if they don't already know you.
I'm Laura Divine, so it'd be L Divine on the screen now. I think I know everybody. Nerdy, I met you. Derek, I met you. HB, nice to see you.
Cheers. Nice to meet you as well. Yeah, we're great to kind of mix it up. I was joking earlier about the monotony of it, the monotony of it. So it's starting to mix it up and get, you know, switch things up a little bit. So go ahead and just tell us about yourself and what you like. And you can take the floor away. You can talk about whatever you like right now. You got like 30, 45 minutes if you like.
Okay. Well, the first thing maybe I have a response on the prompt.
Okay, sweet.
I always, whenever I get overwhelmed, and actually I get overwhelmed easy and I don't watch the news. I try not to watch a lot of the news because it disturbs my energy. But I always think of circle of influence. And whenever you start to think that you can help everybody, you need to bring it back to really, really what is your circle of influence and what can you do to influence your circle.
Exactly right.
And there's the circles go out. So, there's the one closest to you and then out further and out further and out further. But whenever you start to go to the whole world, that's when, and you start to freak out, that's whenever you need to bring it back and remember what your circle of influence is in your life.
Well said.
And that calms you down a whole lot, I think.
That is very well said.
I like that.
Yeah.
And, I talked about this a little bit because it's the same way it's the way we live our lives. Our occupations, we have, what our closest friends and family around us think. We have what the world around us thinks, but most importantly, we have what we think, and that goes with our personal relationships with our friends, with people that we marry, with jobs that we have, with ideas that we have. Right? It's all it matters to us most, and it should matter to us most.
Yes. So then I guess. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to introduce myself. I wanted to introduce myself, and
Yes.
what I first wanted to do was kind of introduce myself in the spirituality, like from the spirituality aspect of it. Um, so I'm Laura. Uh, I'll start at the beginning. So my very first spirituality influence was I was raised Catholic. So there's all that background. Raised Catholic every Sunday in the CCD, baptized, confirmed, everything. I really, really rejected that. Really did not like it. Um, so ever since my childhood, I searched for something else. And I really, really love about learning about all of the religions. It just highly interests me. Everything, all of them. Um, Fast forward. I'm going to fast forward now to when I got my brain tumor. I have a brain tumor, or whenever I discovered it, or a little bit before that. About 2 years before my brain tumor was discovered, um, I kind of really dove back into the spirituality. Before that, I was really busy living life. I was working, I was a single mother, I was married and divorced twice. I had a lot going on. The last thing on my mind was spirituality. But it was really weird. Something started happening and things started going wrong. Things felt funny. And I was drawn to the spirituality again. So, I went on YouTube and I bought books and I started diving into all sort. I was just reaching for all sorts of things, and I settled on meditation at that time, meditation, and I really dove into meditation, and I built that and I created a practice. And this is before I found the brain tumor. I didn't know it was wrong. The things that started going wrong with me is basically everything. I was losing balance. I was losing a little bit of hearing on my right side. I was getting more confused towards the end, when I really didn't know what was going on. There was paranoid thoughts. Everything was
Well,
basically going on. But back to the meditation. Um, I was studying more. I was doing the Kundalini breathing. Um,
100%.
I took everything that I learned my entire life and all these new things I was learning, and I created my own practice and my own spirituality, and I still do. At that time, I decided that it was really, really important that I put my busy life aside and um, really, really dedicate at least 30 minutes, if not an hour. I had to make it 30 minutes some nights because it's, my life. But I would lay in the bath, in the water, in the bathtub every single night. And I started doing a body scan. And then as the body scans continued, I created a mantra. And my mantra at that time was, please just give me the time to let them find what is wrong. And I repeated that mantra over and over and over and over again. And I had no clue. I had no clue what was going wrong. Um, I didn't have any direction at that point. Um, One day, whenever I was in the bath, it was the first experience in the bath. I felt an energy come over me, and it was an energy like I've never ever felt before in my life. I'll say it, the most close thing is orgasm. It was orgasmic. And there was no touch involved. I was laying there in the water, and it kind of entered through my toes and came up through my entire body, and it was very, very noticeable. Very noticeable. Something was going on. I actually opened my eyes, looked down to see if something was there. Nothing was there. um, and then I went back in. After that, several times there was, I would go into my meditation and I would go into my body scan, and I would feel that energy again. And then I would feel fingers on the side of my head massaging my head. And that, it was the most calming, relaxing feeling ever. And that happened several times. Well, as it progressed, the medical system's slow. Something happened, something triggered me to finally call my PCP. I went to the PCP. I told the PCP everything was going wrong with me, everything. I was being accused of abusing prescription drugs that I've never taken, because people around me they didn't know what was wrong with me. And then they couldn't figure it out, like, why are you falling over? And so I got the MRI. I didn't tell my children. They were both, children at the time. I got the MRI, but my one daughter, she caught me. She was almost 18 at the time, and I was home from work early because I had an appointment, and I went to, and she's like, what were you doing? Why are you here? And I was like, oh, well, I had this MRI, no worry. But then I looked at her and I said, you know what? If they do find something though, and something's wrong, and if something's wrong on this side of my head, then there's a man in that bathtub and he's saved my life. And the very next day, I got the phone call that there was a brain tumor the size of a grapefruit right here, exactly where I was being massaged.
Wow.
The brain tumor actually moved my spinal cord so that, like, my brain stem could still flow, so I didn't die. I didn't die and I didn't stroke out. But like my x-ray now of my neck, my spinal cord is actually moved. And I really feel that happened in the bathtub. And I wanted to share that because that is like, wow, spirituality. And I don't know if I would have believed that before it happened to me. And then, and that those experiences were on no drugs.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also have like a second part of that story where all the mushrooms come in and all of the healing. But like that just first part of like the spirituality is what I really wanted to share with this group, and how I really, really deep dove, and I was really interested in Native American, and I actually was blessed enough to take a class in college from a professor. I don't know his name now, but he traveled around the country. This class only came to this college every 3 years because he went to all colleges across the country to teach the history of Native Americans. So I took all of that, and my Catholic upbringing and paganism and the nature. I really, really believe, especially with like my bad like nature. Just get connected to nature. Just be quiet enough to listen, and it's all there. I really believe that. And I guess I wanted to share because I wanted to give other people the power to take pieces from everything and make it your own.
Yes. That's what we're trying to do. I think that's what I'm trying to do. That's such a good story.
It is a great story. If you'd like to, you could talk about your spiritual experiences if you want to.
Or into the mushrooms? I don't know.
Yeah, 100%.
That's interesting that all with meditating.
What?
Sorry, Derek. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh,
It's okay, guys.
This happens a lot. No, but if you want to share that part, if you're comfortable sharing that part, that'd be great.
Go ahead, Nerdy.
No, that's all I had to say. I'm good. If you're comfortable sharing,
that's what
same as Derek said.
exactly what Nerdy said. We're trying to get everybody's opinion on here because there's people that can relate to your story, and really our whole thing here is practicing the 4/5 agreements. As long as people are practicing the agreements and being impeccable with the word and not take things personally. And whenever we do take things personally, we do make assumptions, as long as we're just doing our best and trying what we can, because that's going to differ from me to you to Derek to Nerdy. We're all different people. And that's what we can do is just relate our experience to somebody. That's the reason why I do the show. And that's my little part that I can give to the world, is because, I come from a town where it's really small and there's not a lot of like-minded people. So I try to be that person to somebody's going to relate to what I'm saying. And some people aren't going to relate to what I'm saying. They're going to totally disagree with me. But that makes me unique and individual. And that's why there's a huge group of us here because we're all different. And what you can't get from me or Derek or Nerdy or you can get it from anybody in the chat here as well. And that's what makes us all great. You know, it'd be a bland world if we were all the same gray color, 100%. And
So
speaking,
after,
sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna go in after. It was very quick. It was within 3 weeks that I got surgery. Um, it was what do they call it? They took out as much as they could. I still have a brain tumor in there. So after the brain tumor was removed, after the brain surgery, I had done mushrooms in the past, recreationally, but it had been a long time from doing them recreationally to when I found pops. So it was right after brain surgery that I found pops. I was looking into alternative medicines. And after brain surgery, the treatment plan was laid out for me to start radiation.
Mm.
And it takes about 6 months. My brain surgery is 14 hours long. It had two co-surgeons. So they fought because they both wanted to be in charge. I had to have one for the facial nerve part, and I had to have one for it's still connected to my brain stem. It's still connected in both parts, but there's two completely different surgeons like in my brain, and plus the surgeon's working under them for 14 hours. It takes like 6 months for your brain to get over that. And then I went into the appointment to start the radiation. That whole 6 months, I was real heavy into the meditation, probably 2 baths a day. I wasn't working at that time. My entire focus was on healing. I was using RSO the way Rick Simpson was saying to do it. I was drinking Essiac tea. So I went into that appointment and I live in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's medical, they're known for their medical, and there's UPMC and there's Allegheny General, AHN. I was with AHN, and my surgeon actually popped his head in the door after looking at my scan and asked me if I was cheating on him with UPMC and if I was getting radiation on the side from UPMC. And I said no. And I was wearing all my crystals, and I started a little bit into, my stuff. And he looked at me and he says, "You just keep doing what you're doing." And he left the room again. And when he finally came back, he said that it really didn't make sense for me to start radiation because my tumor was shrinking faster than any rate the radiation would. So back to the mushrooms, I found pops. Whenever after surgery, after the 6 months, I didn't want to drink anymore. Because parts of the surgery, I was so dizzy for days and days and days, and I threw up for about a week after I woke up. So it's just so I went back to the mushrooms, and somehow along the way of going out, I discovered that the mushrooms allowed me, my social anxiety spiked because I lost 100% hearing on my right side. Which you don't think, like, since I can still hear on my left, you think wouldn't affect you as much, but it really does. You can only hear one thing at a time. You can't hear anything else other than one thing. But what mushrooms does is it breaks down the mental barriers that only allows you to hear that one thing with your one ear. And that's what I figured out in working with the fruit and stuff is that whenever I go out in a social situation and there's music playing and whatnot and people talking, of course I can only hear one thing at a time. But with the mushrooms in my system, my brain opens the blocks that it would have blocked, saying, oh, you can only do this because you can only handle that much. And it opens it up more so that I can actually hear more. I can hear more, and it lessens my social anxiety. And I could talk forever about what I've gained as far as what I can hear, as far as just other than the words, other than the word, and in the energy. What I can hear energy now, and it's amazing.
Is that
Nothing
from
short of amazing.
I mean, the depression and the everything with the microdosing, and I found pops. The reason I found pops is because I needed to grow my medicine. Back then I didn't really know. I didn't know anybody. I knew enough. I finally found somebody, and I got some, and it was like really kind of shady and blah blah blah. And then you guys know the story from there.
Yeah.
I could elaborate so much more on so many more of those little things. So, any guys any questions or wants to talk to me or wants to
Did you have
listen
a
to me
comment,
talk
Derek?
more.
Thought you had a comment.
I was asking about the microdose. If it was microdose, it helps with your hearing and anxiety, or is it usually a larger dose? Do you find yourself taking maybe 2 microdoses or 2 grams?
So it's two different things actually. I do microdose. I microdose every day, and I really feel it helps me with my focus.
Mhm.
Not being so completely scattered. My brain was a mess. I mean, after I came out of surgery. Um, as far as the social anxiety goes, and when I discovered that I could hear that my brain was blocking a lot and making it more anxious, um, what I mean, my personally, I'll say it, me personally, what I do for that is when I go out, I take about a gram. And then if I feel like I want more, then I take another. Um, I go by third grams at a time. My pills are about a third of a gram. So I start out about a gram. That's my going out, or historically we call mushroom dose, but that's my going out dose. That's my social anxiety dose, and that I'm more able to, when everybody's talking, I'm able to flip faster and hear what I need to hear, and just I'm able to take it all in because I think the mushrooms break down my thought that I can't take it all in and I can't process it all. They let the information come in, and then I can choose to process it or not. Whereas without the mushrooms, it's just blocked out.
I can have a quote like that. I actually found that Albert Einstein quote. Hold on one second. No problem can be solved from the same level of consciousness that it created it. Um, we talk a lot about the idea of the matrix and the red pill, blue pill, but one thing we don't talk about a lot is the white pill, black pill. The white pill is essentially that you think that everything in the world is great and positive and nothing is bad. And the black pill is you think that everything is doom and gloom and going to be horrible. And just what Albert Einstein says here, no problem can be solved with the same level of consciousness that created it. You know, you can't solve problems by thinking that everything's going to be horrible, that nothing's going to be solved. And what mushrooms help you do is exactly what you mentioned, is opening the doors for you, doors for perception, open your heart and put it above your head instead of logically thinking about everything. Think with your feelings.
Or
I do
here.
have a question about your tumor. You had
Mhm.
one surgery so far. I'm assuming they're going to have another surgery at some point after. No.
Oh,
Is it-
well, actually, my doctor just gave me like a. I'm confident in saying no. My doctor did just give me like a dose of reality that like the tumor is still in there.
Mm-hmm.
But right now,
Oh,
my
it's shrinking.
treatment plan is the words are watch and wait.
Okay.
Watch and wait. And so far, it's been 3 years. 3 years, it has not shrunk, but 3 years, it has not grown. It has changed its form a little bit. My surgeon has a lot of words and tells me about it, and he says that it's a lot now. It is a lot better form. It has gotten the lines have gotten more defined, so that the next step we take would be much easier.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no next step planned,
Yeah.
and I live my life very optimistically.
It's smaller, which is important.
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah.
It was the size of a grapefruit, and now it's
Right.
the size, like all combined, like less than my pinky
Good.
fingernail compared
Amazing.
to that.
Very
Good.
cool. Awesome.
And that's all inside my skull.
Mm-hmm.
So you can imagine, like, if that's why everything was going wrong.
Yeah.
100%. And you're proving my point. Whatever I was mentioning earlier, my human heart, it aches for somebody like you. Like I can only imagine going through that because I can only imagine. I've never experienced that. I've never even had anybody in my family who's died from cancer. But you have the exact attitude that you should have. Instead of looking at it like, "Woe is me," "Oh, this is horrible," you guys should have sympathy for me. You're looking at it like, "This is a challenge for me to go through, and it makes me stronger as a person." It's the best thing you can do. So you're doing it. I like it.
Really miraculous. It was really miraculous. Even like I even looked like who I was before I got the phone call, and then how I reacted the moment I got the phone call, got the news, and after I just can't, like, I was so calm. I was calm. I was calm and collected, and like I it was almost as if I was in like a state of meditation for an entire month.
Give you a real appreciation for life. That's for sure. Um, we appreciate your input. Um, this is, I mean, I
Thanks
can
for
relate a
letting me
lot to what you're
share.
saying about the spiritual aspect of mushrooms because what mushrooms do best is they speak to us individually, just like with our spirituality, with just like we try to talk about on the show, just like Nerdy was mentioning. We try to make it individual to everyone, just like you mentioned as well. So that's what mushrooms do for you is they find what's wrong with you and help you in the ways that you need it. I've had similar experiences with mushrooms because I have horrible lungs, so it does the same thing with me whenever I take mushrooms for my lungs. It helps me like heal my body physically. I could feel that. It's something that I wouldn't need to do to anybody else, and other people will get their benefits in other ways. I think that's what mushrooms are best at doing, being an individual doctor for a lot of people. I'm not saying it's for everyone, but the people that it's for, it really helps you for sure.
You can
I
communicate. You really
Yeah,
can.
100%.
There's
100%.
times where I have dearly needed to sleep, and I've taken that microdose, and I have went to sleep. Like I really believe that there
Yeah.
is a
Mind body connection.
symbiotic relationship.
Yeah, 100%. Connects your mind to your body. Like, again, your heart to your mind. It allows it to work in connection with each other rather than confliction with each other. Just like you mentioned about hearing sounds around you. When our mind starts to step in too much, it inhibits our ability to be able to hear or see everything. That's why I always say you have to close your eyes to see. So mushrooms help us do. Let's close our eye. And we can see everything around us. Nerdy?
I think Derek had something to say.
Yeah, I apologize. I don't remember when you said you were taking the baths, when you felt the massage. Were you is that when you were doing mushrooms like
Nope.
Before.
recreationally or not at all?
Nope.
Just your spirituality and your meditation and then
Hmm.
after that you started. Okay, wow.
The entire time that period, it was about 3 months before the tumor was found
Mhm.
when I first felt like that full energy. I was meditating and I had started the baths months prior to that, but it was about 3 months. I felt that energy. I had like made the PCP appointment, then the PCP had to make the MRI appointment. It was during that time. And no, there's no mushrooms, no psychedelics. That's what was so just affirmative to me.
So would you say that you would not have had that experience had you not been meditating if you were just not feeling good and like I'm gonna take a bath? You believe that your spirituality had a big part in that part of the process?
I
Or
do. I really do because I was doing those body scans and then I started that mantra
in the breathing exercise? Right.
and it only happened in the bath. It wasn't like it happened when I was laying in bed trying to go to sleep. It only
Okay.
happened whenever I went into that space for the
Mhm.
purpose of meditation and healing. is whenever it happens. So I would, yeah,
Or-
I would definitely attribute it to the meditation.
Yeah.
And like whenever we were in Michigan, that's why I wasn't sure who was around me, but I really, really wanted to share my story with oh my gosh, why am I blanking right now?
I heard parts of it, I think, when we were out there.
He hasn't been on T for a while.
MVP?
What?
I haven't seen MVP on P for a while.
No,
Michael?
Yoga, the one who does the yoga, Shy's friend.
Michael?
Michael.
Michael.
Talking about Michael. He's a great guy.
In Michigan,
Michael Patterson is a great guy.
In Michigan, I shared this whole story with Michael because I really thought that Michael would appreciate it, because I really felt that it came from the meditation, from me really being able to really get into that.
I really hope Michael Patterson's doing okay. I haven't, yeah.
I noticed this week, whenever coming up and thinking about this, I noticed that I haven't seen him, and I meant to message him.
Cheers. Thank you for joining.
I know he wasn't doing well for a little bit. I really hope he's doing good. That guy is a good guy. I could tell when I met him.
100%. I've had conversations with him a couple times on T.
I reached out to him earlier this week or last week, and he's still hanging in there. I told him I admired his strength. You know, because he replied to me with a kind of neat, not a parable, but a neat message, and I appreciated it. It was about growth, and but he's still keeping his head up. Yeah, he's going through some things, but his outlook and his strength I admire. He's a really good guy.
If somebody was wanting to get into meditation, how would you suggest for them to do it? What would be the first step?
I mean, I honestly, how I did it is I searched YouTube. So
okay,
I do that.
Which I have done as well.
I had a friend that gave me their Gaia login. Oh my gosh, I love it.
I know exactly what you're referring to.
Yeah, but I love Mystic Journey so much because I am such a firm believer in take the things and make it your own.
100%. That's what we try, because that's what people are doing anyway. They're just not realizing it when they call themselves a Christian, they call themselves a Buddhist, they call themselves a Taoist. Really, they're I like to say, I'm a Buddhist with Taoist and Christian tendencies. You know what I mean? So I just adopt whatever I like, and it's just like a plate of food. Whenever I go, I don't eat just mashed potatoes and call myself a mashed potato boy. I eat a plate of food and call it food. It's life.
I really like looking at it if you just keep on going to the root and the root and the root and the root, and I kind of see the root as being the 4 agreements.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why we kind of use it, because it's simplest.
We're all mystics.
Just break away all the extra crap, and what you have is the 4 agreements.
Well said. The fog, that's what we talk about, clearing the smoke from the mirror. We talk about the allegory of the cave. This is why we talk about all these ideas, because that's exactly what it is. When you realize, whenever you just boil it down to the simplest ingredients that you could use to make a cake, it's these 4 ingredients right here. That's how you do it. It's been so great having you on. Go ahead, Nerdy.
And you can add additional agreements as you see fit. That's the great part about it.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that the agreements is like first grade, right? When you graduate and go to 2nd and 3rd grade, you can definitely start adding more and more in there. But when you're down and out and you're confused on how to handle life, it's really important just to keep it simple. Remember when you're having a hard day, it's only 4 things that you have to do. You have to do. The only 4 things you have to do, actually the 6 things you have to do, is practice the 5 agreements and drink water. And eat food,
I know it's
7, whatever.
5 after right now, but do you have time for a couple of fun questions?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were asking me. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I already asked you guys these questions on the first episode. So
okay, sweet. Let's do it, man.
Out of all characters, fictional or especially fictional characters, who do you most relate with?
What?
Which character do you find most relatable in all of literature or movies?
Books, or it could be a show, it could be anything. Who do you relate to?
Really? Half Pint?
Little House on the Prairie.
Half Pint? Okay. That's a good one.
15 Acres. That's part of
the 15 Acres what?
I own 15 acres, like live in a holler on 15
Right
acres
on.
along
Right
a
on.
I used to
maybe
love
Is that the way you like to live?
that
You
show.
like to be like that? Is that the way you like to live? You don't like the city? You like to be out in the country?
kind of sort of, but I go to the city almost every weekend.
Mm.
Cool.
So
Awesome. What do you do out in the city? What do you like to get into?
music.
Music, 100%. You got to go see local bands and stuff. Sweet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%, man. That's what's up.
So
What kind of music do you like?
The Grateful Dead.
Well, yeah,
Paraphrasing.
that's
Love
that
so
just
my
shows how much
mother.
hippie, that shows how much of a hippie that you are right
So
there.
interesting thing
Grateful
about Laura
best
Ingalls
friends
Wilder.
are like my best friends are the #1 cover band in Pittsburgh for the Dead, and
Okay, okay.
I
Very
also
cool, dude.
Mackie with TSO, and I just love the Grateful Dead. So then anything
Awesome.
that's off of that too.
Okay, right, that kind of stuff. Yeah, I just covered Marshall Tucker. They're very similar. Yeah, those
Love,
jam bands,
yeah, I
100%.
love all music. If anything's live, I will
Cool.
appreciate.
Sweet. And that's really the thing I would mention during my last riffing with HB is that seeing these bands live really makes a difference.
Love live
Nerdy,
music.
you got anything?
Laura Ingalls Wilder. So I loved Little House on the Prairie growing up.
Yeah.
Loved it so much. Yeah. So did you ever read the books or you just watch the shows?
Oh, no. I never even watched all the shows, I think, completely. I have the books on my bookshelf still, and I have read them so many times that they're broken apart and taped back together.
My mother,
Uh-huh.
it was the
I,
same, and she used to tell me how the books were different from the show,
So
and
much
how
better than the
the
show.
nickname Half
I've read
Pint
the
was actually Half Pint of Cider, Half Drunk Up. It was the name that her father gave her. But my mom lives
Uh,
near Laura's childhood home where she grew
oh,
up out in
no,
Missouri.
okay, sweet.
But yeah, that's a good one. I like
Hey,
Laura
we see
Ingalls.
somebody's from India here. Prima Lada, yeah. Cool. Thank you for joining into our show. It's great to have somebody from a different country, man.
All right, another fun question. What is your go-to candy?
my go-to what?
Your go-to candy. You know, I have candy every episode.
Bottle caps. Bottle caps is my.
Ooh,
Somebody just had the. Which one of you guys had one the other day?
I had those
One of you guys had a. You just
They're,
had them? Yeah, I love bottle caps.
they're
Pretty
so
good
good.
candy.
all
Great
sugar.
choice.
It's my. I should not eat any sugar at all, and I go through like waves.
Yeah.
And if I buy it and it's in the house, I eat it all. And then I won't buy it because I know I should not be eating it. I should not
Mhm.
be none of it, but I love it.
You dropped HP for a second there, but I totally understand. There we go.
Oh,
There we go. Gotcha. Oh,
Nope. Uh-oh.
I think we both pushed it at the same time.
I'm in the mountains, man. My internet's all choppy. Okay. I wanted to say, you got any more questions, Nerdy, before we get
No,
out?
that's my two fun
Um,
questions.
yeah, this has been super cool. I think it's really great having other people in here and getting their points of view. You've been super polite and super kind and like perspective on life. Um, and as usual, just like all of our guests, you can come back on anytime if you'd like. We can even have you back on this Friday if nobody else decides that they want to get up. We'll let you get on for a little while. We do our
I already,
4/5 agreement Fridays, and then I'm sorry I talked over you. Go ahead.
I already got tickets to a show.
Okay, sweet. So yeah, whenever you're free, just let us know ahead of time, even if it's just before the show, and then we'll be able to get you on. It's been so great having you. It's been
Thank
great
Anytime.
having a different perspective. If you have any recommendations for people that you would like to get on, if anybody that you're friends with that you think has a really neat perspective, just get them in touch with us, and that way we can let them on the show as well too.
Will do.
Sweet. Thank you so much. And look, you have a really great attitude, and I hope that you continue to keep healing. Obviously, you're doing everything you can mentally, physically to try to make yourself a better person. And it's working. It clearly shows. So thank you so much for joining in with us.
Have a great night, guys.
Have a great night. Okay. Bye. Bye, everyone.
All right. Bye, everybody.